with our more advanced switches running ROS operating system. I'll remind that these switches are what we position as L3, layer 3 switches. They do have quite a bit of routing capabilities to them, not only switching capabilities, and they also have Cisco-like CSI, which makes it easier to transition from Cisco equipment to using this type of routers, this type of switches. Throughout the year 2025, we had released 6 versions of the operating system. So our release cycle is about 3 months each, so 4 versions per year. I'm not gonna cover all the different features that we had introduced, all the improvements and bug fixes. I only cover the most important worth noting, and this would be non-stop forwarding level 2. It is quite a large feature that we put a lot of time into. Almost a year we've been developing that. This feature is aimed to reduce the downtime on the control plane of a switch to reboot it. It comes into play in the stack when you have a device that needs to reboot for whatever reason. If it's getting software update or there is a hiccup, it would reboot, but it would reboot it control plane, but the data plane will stay on active, keep on switching traffic based on the MAC table that's still stored in the memory. So it reduces the downtime to 50 milliseconds, so it's almost almost immediately gets back into stack and keeps on providing this service. Another feature is priority-based flow control. It's a data center feature that can effectively prevent packet loss. Also quite a significant for data center, and there is a lot of efforts went into that. And also it is not exactly a feature, but more of a set of standards. It's virtual routing and forwarding. We had supported a few of features of this standard, and this is for layer 3 traffic segmentation. It's sort of a similar concept to VLANs that we have for switching. So VRF, it's similar abstractions for traffic routing. So there are 4 versions that can be downloaded from our website, and you can upgrade the firmware on your switch, on your ROS switch, to these. Also, what we do in the background is porting some of the features from ROS 4. So it's a predecessor to ROS 6 operating system. So if you're one of those customers who had a particular feature implemented on the, say, MES 2348 switch, and you do want it to migrate to ROS 6, please reach out, and we'll make sure this feature will make it way to the newer version of the operating system. As far as ISS goes, the main focus for 2025 and also the previous year was getting stacking on this type of equipment. The history of this comes down back to, I believe, 2019, about 7 years ago, when we introduced this type of equipment. It was added as a more cost-effective solution, as what we call it layer 2 plus solution, layer 2 plus switches, mostly for the aggregation, mostly for the access and a little bit for aggregation level when you don't need as advanced routing functionality. And initially stacking was not even on the table for these devices. But later on, many customers wanted to have stacking ability, and we ended up adding this functionality to this switch, to this series. It is available on the software 10.4.2 onwards. It's also on the website, and basically it's similar. It doesn't have a dedicated stacking port on the device since it was introduced. Stacking wasn't planned initially, but we utilize uplink, 1 or 2 uplink ports to build ring or linear stacking topology of up to 8 units. And with each software upgrade, we are expanding the number of features we support in stack. You can see on the list here that we initially, in the MVP version of stacking, we supported the main things like MAC tables, VLANs, OSPF supports, and things like that. It's not the full list. Full list is much longer and can be found in the release notes. In the version 10.4.3, we expanded this list, and we are planning on expanding this list further in 2026. As far as the hardware goes, in the switches lineup, we have sort of one of each released in 2025. I'll start with the data center model, MES 530024. This one more of a provider level aggregation device or data center level top of rack unit. It has 24 10G fiber interfaces and quite a significant throughput of 1.68 terabits per second. And the next two devices, these are our industrial devices. One of them is the aggregation level industrial switch with 20 SFP 1G interfaces, and this one is quite interesting actually. MES 3500i 8P8F. You can tell it straight away based on the naming. 8P8F stands for 8 PoE and 8 fiber interfaces. So this one combines access and PoE interfaces that you can connect and power and devices with fiber interfaces. So it can be used in the mixed environments, and it also, as you can tell from the shape, from the design of the body of the device, it's designed for DIN rail mounting. And the one on the right is MES 2420D-24DP. This bulky name stands for, well, partially it's highlighting that it has 2 hot swappable power adapters, power supplies. So it has redundancy in this regard, but it is one of our what we call multi-gigabit series switch. This is designed to power devices like access points. At Eltex, many of our access points, wireless access points, come equipped with 2 gigabit interfaces, and this also PoE compatible. So this one exactly for that, and can power up to 24 access points or similar devices if you want to leverage its functionality to the maximum. Also, it has a power PoE budget of 720 watts. So it's actually quite a lot. If it's 30 watts per one port, so it's capable of powering most of the devices that are graded PoE+. And as far as our plans go for the year that's just started, our main priorities, our main goals is extending our data center functionality and extending our MPLS functionality. Also, we're going to continue and potentially finish porting all the features that we implemented on our predecessor operating system ROS 4, and also security. It's one of our priorities at all times, and this year is no exception. I mentioned that we already have non-stop forwarding for switching NSF-L2 in place, but in the third quarter, this is where we are planning to introduce non-stop forwarding level 3 for routing. It is a similar concept, utilizing our control plane and data plane, but this time when control plane goes offline, data plane not only keeps on switching traffic, but as I mentioned, ROS is an operating system with a lot of routing capabilities. NSF-L3 is aimed to keep on routing traffic based on the IP table saved in the memory of the device. So this makes sure of uninterrupted operation of the protocols like OSPF and BGP for the time while control plane is getting rebooted and getting back online. Also in the third quarter, it is a point where we introducing precision time protocol and parallel redundancy protocols. I'm going to mention these two protocols when I'm gonna go over our hardware update, but these two protocols, what we actually spend a lot of time on, and what will expand our industrial switch series. I'll tell about them a little bit later. And again, this is not all the plans. There is a lot of background work, and if you want to influence any of the features that you want to have in our switches, please feel free to reach out and let us know that this particular feature is not in place, and our devices will work it out. Our 24, 34, and 37 series ISS operating system, we had 3 releases this year. We have a little bit longer release cycle, and because it's not as wide device range in this series, we're not upgrading it as fast as the ROS series. So if it would be, of course, our first priority, and the ISS is going to go a little bit behind. But the main thing here, as I said, we're going to keep on working on the stacking capabilities and keep on adding features to stacking, especially in the fourth quarter of the 2026. I would like to bring your attention to our large security projects. There are actually 2 of them. That first is going to be added in the first quarter in our recent release, and the second one goes in the second quarter. And it's quite a significant review of our secure capabilities and security potentially drawbacks at times, but we're going to, as part of this update, upgrade SSH OpenSSH version to nearly the current version, and this is going to bring us quite a few of things like increasing RSA key length and other security updates that our customers had been asking us for. Among other features, there are IP SLA implementations in the fourth quarter. It makes sure that the device can work and process IP SLA packets and accumulate these statistics. Our hardware plans for 2026 are actually quite extensive. There are 7 devices that I brought into 3 slides. First one is again our multi-gigabit access switches. These are quite interesting. Again, multi-gigabit are mostly intended for the connecting our access points. So the 2310-48DP is one of our 2.5 gigabit switches with the 42 PoE interfaces. But the one I would like to draw your attention to is the MACE 2310-12XU. This one is first of this kind for Eltex, and it is influenced by Wi-Fi 7. This year, as you may or may not know, we are introducing Wi-Fi 7 access points. Throughout the year, we are planning 3 of them. It's out of scope of this presentation, but some of these access points, they have a copper 10G interface on them. So this switch is basically getting best of both worlds. Using 10G copper cables, 10G copper interfaces, we get, of course, 10G rate, but we also getting powering over PoE, over power over Ethernet. So we can connect this Wi-Fi hotspot without using any of the fiber infrastructure. So it's regular copper. Yes, it does require category 6A or category 7 cable, but you can, if you already have this infrastructure, you can reuse it and replace your existing Wi-Fi hotspots to Eltex Wi-Fi 7 hotspot, and this can be powered with this switch. It is both of these switches actually are scheduled for the second quarter of this year. Industrial switches, also similar approach. We have one PoE switch for the access level and one for rack mounting for aggregation level with fiber downlinks. But the difference for these particular switches is these can be used in more in SCADA environments that are designed for industrial automation that's sensitive to time and outages. Because of the support of the protocols PTP and PRP, these are precision time protocol and parallel redundancy protocol. These switches make sure that the time is precisely synchronized throughout the whole range of equipment that support these protocols on the access and aggregation level. And with the parallel redundancy, what this does, unlike HSR protocol, the PRP, its topology is double star, and it makes sure zero switching time when one of the devices goes offline, and it's pretty much what it says in the name. It's seamless parallel redundancy when the switching happens in with no downtime, basically. So again, this can be offered for the projects when time synchronization is critical and when redundancy needs to be achieved, and it can be done via PRP protocol. And 3 of the devices fall into the data center category. These were designed with super spine leaf architecture of the data center in mind. If you look at the specifications of this, you would see that the 532024 has 100 gigabyte uplinks that can be connected to the 560024 that is playing a role of a spine device and has uplinks of 400 gigabit, and these can be connected to the 570033 that plays a role of a leaf. Sorry, that's it's a little confusing, I know, because they released in a different order, and it basically goes leaf, spine, and super spine. So 57000 has a throughput of 25.6 terabits per second and plays role of super spine of the main branch that other are connected to and go like a tree. This design is getting more widely used lately. Larger data centers, larger clients tend to build their data centers this way, the spine leaf or super spine leaf. I would advise you to check out our design guide on this matter. We do have design guides on our website, and our main types of equipment are covered by these design guides, and data center is no exception. We do have design guide covering that, and it can be found on our website. The next equipment range is our service routers. We have actually about a dozen of models of these. They're a little bit easier to navigate between because they have the same operating system throughout the range, and these devices, they combine, unlike other vendors, we ended up with service routers that basically combine a router and a layer 4 transport level firewall in one device. So it has routing capabilities, of course, advanced things like MPLS, BGP, OSPF, and at the same time it has quite wide security capabilities. So it's a zone-based firewall. It's things like intrusion prevention and detection systems, and other basic things like access control lists, you name it, basically. It also does support quite a bit of tunneling functionality. So things like Cisco's dynamic multi-point VPN, so DM VPN, is also implemented on these devices. And the important thing, partially why we put a lot of effort into upgrading and adding functionality to here, because ESR is our foundation for many other types of equipment that we offer at Eltex. So ESR would be a foundation for wireless controllers, for our VoIP session border controls, for our console servers that I'm going to talk later, and this is why we see it sometimes as a flagship equipment in our portfolio. Again, throughout the year, we with this equipment, we have 4-month release cycle, maybe a little shorter, maybe a little longer, but we had 4 versions released this year. And don't be confused why it doesn't have as many things that in this list. There are actually a lot of architectural and background work goes into each of these releases. And a lot of this work, as I said, getting utilized to different types of equipment that's based on ESR. The thing that I want to highlight is our clustering capability. So this, in 2025, we gradually released expansions to clustering. Firstly, that was support for active plus standby cluster of 4 devices when we had 1 plus N, 1 active and other other devices on standby in a single cluster. This is based on VRRP protocol, and in the further releases we've been changing it to expanding it to active cluster with up to 4 devices. So now you can utilize and balance traffic in the cluster with multiple ESR up to 4 in active regime, and it makes the scheme redundant. Other than that, we had support for new devices. There are 2 new devices we had released this year, and also expanding and optimizing our DM VPN protocols. We increased the number of records quite significantly. So if you have projects with a large number of this is no longer a limitation for ESR. There are 2 new pieces of equipment we had added to our portfolio, ESR 3350 and ESR 3250. They both quite high-end. There are flagship routers that are going to be reused for other types of equipment, and they have very similar architecture. They have identical interface configuration of 8 combo interfaces combining copper and fiber, and 4 25G fiber interfaces, and the throughput it's almost doubles in 3350. They also have redundant power supplies. So these are routers for with network security in mind, and aimed for service providers and large enterprise level. As far as our plans for the 2026, we are planning 3 versions. As I said, the changes in this version, with little exceptions, but going to cover all the equipment, all the range we have. And here I would, in terms of routing, I'll probably highlight PIM sparse mode, protocol independent multicast sparse mode. It's expanding the routing capabilities for multicast that we are going to have in the first quarter. But other than that, there are quite a few BGP additions, and a lot of work also goes into what we've been asked for quite a few times by different customers, is our web UI. It's actually first time we ever talk about the releasing an MVP that is going to be usable, and in the fourth quarter we are expecting a graphic web UI available in ESR. Of course, it's going to be in an MVP version. It's going to be very basic, covering basic functionality, like ACL and interfaces and whatnot, but it's going to be available, and we are going to expand it in the further versions. As far as the firewall goes, there are little features like Geo IP. It's limiting access and filtering traffic from specific regions based on their geolocations, and DDoS protection, a feature called fail to ban, that's going to ban connections that trying to log in unsuccessfully on multiple occasions, and quite a big upgrade to our certification authority. It's to do with releasing certificate based on the device without using third-party certificate, and getting AAA authentication authorization using certification authority on the device specifically. So please stay tuned for the releases for ESR. We have a lot of plans in this direction. For the 2026, in the first quarter, the end of the first quarter, beginning of the second quarter, we are planning to release our ESR 3150 device. It's sort of a middle to high-end model with 21.7 gigabits per second firewall throughput, and supporting 500 VPN tunnels. So it's going to be this piece of equipment is going to replace further down the track ESR 3100, and it unlike you may see that its design and its interface configuration may remind you of the 3250 and 3350 devices, but don't be confused. It only has 10G interfaces, but not 25G as those two models. And for the third quarter, that's been a request from some of our customers, routers with redundancy connection option of LTE. So we each of these devices has 2 slots for SIM cards that are category 12 LTE compatible, and it's just another measure, another way of getting connection redundancy to these devices. So this is going to be identical to 15R and 31 accordingly, but with the 4G capability. And last but not least, it's formally goes into the ESR category because it's built on top of a ESR, but it's a first console server that we are going to release at Eltex. Console server, it's actually very handy piece of equipment for managing complex installations, complex schemes, and it basically has 32 ports that can be connected to RS-232 console ports or OLB ports for remote out-of-band management of your network. So if your switch goes offline, if it's not accessible, it is another way of accessing this infrastructure through its console ports. The way to do it is it's physically different connections that all come down to this device, and it can be connected either physically or remotely from a different sort of a backup ISP connection or LTE connection. It doesn't have a LTE ports for SIM cards, but it is just a matter of your imagination how you connect it, but it's another way of manage your network infrastructure utilizing its console ports. It's planned for the second quarter of 2026. And third type of equipment that I'm going to cover in this presentation is our video surveillance. It's fairly new for Eltex, but this is something we've been putting quite a lot of effort into, and we had managed to do significant progress in this category. I'll start with the software part. You may have heard about EV platform or AV platform. We had 2 versions released in the 2025, and the main thing about our initial release was that the reason why it says version 1.3 because it's not technically first version. We had a different components called EV what it was perimeter and analytics, and now they've been all merged into one solution that combines video surveillance, access control, and analytics. So we ended up offering one solution that combines all 3. So 1.3 was initial version that was offered, not only used internally at Eltex, but was offered to our customers, and version 1.4 was quite a significant upgrade, especially for our international customers, because among other updates, we had support for international number plates, because access control requires if you want to have control over your parking area, you need to enter and recognize a number plate of your particular country. So we added, apart from Russian number plates of neighboring countries, about a dozen of them, like Armenia, Belarus, Moldavia, and other neighboring countries, but we are planning to expand this list. And a few new video analytics models, things like tripwire, that's a line crossing, another word for line crossing analytics, and perimeter intrusion. And I would like to remind you that this solution, it's purely software. It's compatible with third-party video equipment and even video equipment that's already in place in your organization. It consists of the web part, so it's management in the browser. You would install and configure the system using the browser, and the client part, which is based on Windows or Linux application for camera viewing, notification, getting notifications, and accessing video archive. 2 things that we added in this release, especially in the second half of the 2025, was a mobile client. Again, it is an MVP at this point. It has a basic functionality of viewing the cameras and accessing the archive, also access points, and getting and reacting on the notifications. But it is still very usable application, because there are many tasks when you would like to adjust the camera, and you can just take your application, your mobile phone with the application on the go, and check the video stream directly from the camera, and you don't need to bring your laptop with a desktop application installed on it. And we are going to further develop this application, of course, for utilizing more functionality. And another hardware update would be our video panel, SVP100. This one, what we predominantly use internally at Eltex, and I quite happy. I'm using this almost on a daily basis because these tablets that are installed, they may be installed on the turnstile, they may be mounted on the wall next to the room that you want to access. It gives you immediate feedback because of the large screen. It shows you what the camera is seeing straight away, and it shows you the status, whether or not you've been recognized or the system does not know you and you want to get, you're not going to be given access to this specific place. So the main idea here is, as I said, immediate feedback and also reusing the camera on this tablet and using it for facial recognition. So you don't need to install a dedicated camera. For this purpose, you can reuse the camera on this panel. So it's a very good demonstration for your customer. It's quite, as I said, intuitive and straightforward to use. So we are planning to going in this direction with video panels. As far as hardware goes, I do have one of the cameras here with me, which is 301, but this one, our first release, our initial bullet camera. We actually going to replace those with the revision B in throughout this year. So we have revision B on this slide, and with all the specifications, all the features here, I have highlighted those that we are going to change in revision B. In revision B, we're going to upgrade the image sensor. It's going to be more a larger image sensor that's going to result in a better video quality, and also we're going to cover both Power over Ethernet mode A and mode B. Some of our customers would like to use power injectors, and this new revision going to cover both these approaches. In development, we have models with 2 megapixels. In addition to these 4 megapixel models, we're going to expand our range with different megapixel options, and also we're going to expand our range with different architecture. It will result in models named SV-BB in the future. That's going to support true WDR. So it's a wider dynamic range for better video quality, basically, when you have very bright areas of the picture and darker areas of the picture. And it's going to be, unlike digital WDR, is going to be done on the hardware level. This is why we are planning to implement another CPU to implement this functionality the hardware way. Also, I would like to remind you, in the previous webinars I didn't really touch this, but in fact we do have our what we call in B2C cameras. So the previous cameras, the likes of these, are all wired camera. They are powered with Ethernet cables, and they can be powered via PoE. These 2 models here are this letter, W letter at the end, basically stands for Wi-Fi. So these are Wi-Fi models. The WE is a Wi-Fi and Ethernet model, but it cannot power by PoE. They're all powered either by USB-C or adapter. These more for the end customers to use. They're very intuitive, they're very easy to set up, they're very easy to use, but they are aimed to be used either for Eltex smart home platform, Alice, or either used for the provider platform. So we sell them as 100 series for smart home, or 200 series, offering it to service providers to be sold to end customers on their behalf. So they offer cloud storage, they offer basic video analytics like motion detection, tripwire, object detection, and some of the basic things that can be done on the camera. And also, as I said, they're very easy to use. So these are for indoor use, and if you have a similar use case for these cameras, please reach out and we'll provide you with the details. Our hardware plans for this year are 2 new cameras in the second quarter. This would be vandal-proof camera with IK10 damage-proof rating, and I would like to highlight that it also has this larger image sensor of 1 to 2.7. And our first varifocal model, there are going to be 2 versions with 2 megapixel and 4 megapixel sensor. Varifocal basically meaning that you can change its focal distance and it can zoom in quite significantly without loss of quality. So at times 2 megapixels would be enough just because you can optically zoom in your picture. And of course, last but not least, what many of our customers were asking about is an NVR. We don't even have a render at this point, but we have plans for the third quarter for it to be available. Most likely its name going to start with SVR, Smart Video Recorder, and we're going to have options for 16 and 32 channels with 2 hard drives, and option for 34 channels and 8 hard drives. So please stay tuned. There are many projects for sort of a larger camera network, and this where physical video recorders comes into play quite nicely. Our EV platform plans for this year are quite wide. 4 versions. There are different number of features are planned in this, like version 1.5. It's going to be quite interesting with non-access control people and vehicle lists, when we don't really have a white list to control people entering the area, but rather we allow all the vehicles and people to enter the particular area, and then the system would provide a report on the number plates of the vehicles and faces and times of people who entered the particular area. It's a kind of different concept of access control, and we also have versions that with the sort of mostly architectural changes where we don't have much to offer, like version 1.6. But even in this version, we have this discovery app, what we call, which similar to apps from Hikvision or Dahua, that is designed to find devices of the vendor in the network. So when installing the cameras or controllers, you may use this app to solve IP conflicts, to do version upgrade, basically to make sure these devices are present in your network. Other versions, there are a few new additions to the analytics models, like people counting and anti-spoofing. And we are also planning to utilize the capabilities of video analytics on the cameras in a more effective manner to make sure that we're not loading our video management system server too much. So some of the analytics, some of the recognition going to happen on the camera and not on the server going forward. And last but not least, I mentioned the mobile app AV Mobile. We have our plans for the year of adding quite a few features here. It's going to be a little bit more easier to use with ability to save video and screenshots from the archive. Now it's only allowing you to view that, and other features like viewing events, filtering events, and viewing event summary, and things like displaying employee and visitor lists. All that is planning to be added in the 2026. So I hope you found something new in this presentation. I'm happy to answer your questions if you have any. I'm going to see them shortly on the screen. I would like to remind you that we have news section on our website that you can see some of the updates for the software there, and you can subscribe to our newsletter with the news and announcements for the webinars. Right, so please give me a second to read the... Right, are all the switches stackable? As I said, there are two operating systems. We have ROS operating system 2333 series. They all stackable with no exception, but the ISS series of the 24 and 34 series, we do have exceptions there. There are just two of these exceptions. You cannot stack 2408 switch, and you cannot stack 2428 series switch, non-POI, non-POI. The reason for that is these are more budget options, and their architecture does not allow us to add stacking to them. So there are only two exceptions. All the other switches are stackable. Others go pretty well. Right. Can you please? Do I need to purchase? EV licenses every year? Not really. So for our video surveillance licensing is one-off. You purchase a license and it does not expire. I would remind you that our licensing based on the number of cameras and the number of access points you have in your organizations, and you don't need to buy new license every month or every year. It's a one-off purchase, so the licenses do not expire. If there is nothing else, I would like to thank you for being here with me this time. This year, another announcement. We have quite a few of webinars planned, except from these quarterly updates. We're going to have new webinars on management systems coming in March and April. So please stay tuned. Please check out our news section to be notified about the updates, and hopefully I'll see you on the next webinars. Thank you, and see you later.